I'm here with Ian Matthews, junior manager and junior player for Navan O Mayoney's. Or am I a bit out of date?
Oh, well, that's the question at the moment that I'm trying to answer, Seamus.
All right, we can help you.
Do I hang up the boots or not? I don't know what to do. We won the final last year after 5 years being on the road with it, so it feels like maybe a good way to bow out. 41 now, but I still have to grow for it. I still enjoy it, and the day you don't enjoy it is probably the day to hang up the boots. And at the moment, I do still enjoy it. So we're paying the membership at the moment, and I'm wondering, what do I click? Do I click non-playing or do I click playing membership? So,
yeah, well, is it a bit? It's not that big a difference, is it? So
No. So I think maybe I'll just click playing for now, and I can help out when the weather gets a bit better.
Well, again, it's that thing of if you still love it and you still love playing it, it does make sense to keep doing it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's that buzz of, I think it's one of those few things that's left in life, where the buzz of playing a game of football, the buzz of marking somebody and getting to the ball before them, or getting a block in, or getting a shoulder in. It's raw, and maybe there aren't too many things left in life that are raw. Everything's quite sanitized these days.
It is. It's very different to everything else when you think about it. It's that competition. It's that you've got a team around you that support you. It's that you're pushing on. You have a very simple, to an extent, a simple goal or a target to achieve. And not many things in life replicate that, do they?
Not really. No, it's that you go into that bubble of that's that space where it's just about the ball, and it's about your teammates, about trying to win a game of football, and it's an escape. I think when my children came along, I started to appreciate football more, whereas beforehand you might be saying, oh, training again tonight, I'd rather be sitting home watching the Champions League, or do I have to go to this? Whereas when I'm sure a lot of players who have children would say the same thing, you then realise that's my time out. That is my time away from home. That's my time away from the children, and I have to make the most of it. So if you make a mistake, or if you have a rough 5 minutes on the pitch, there's no time to feel sorry for yourself, because this is your golden time. You have to enjoy it. So get stuck in and find that ball again.
It's a really good thought process. It's really nice. So is your favourite part of, because some people always say, I love training, I love being in the dressing room, I love playing the game. There's different parts. So is your favourite part of football always playing the game, always in that competition?
It's a good question. I love the dressing room as well. I love the dressing room camaraderie. I love the banter in the dressing room. Recently, we've spoken a lot about showers, because even pre-COVID, the showers are something that have died out, the dressing room culture. A lot of guys arrive up to training now in their car, jump out, go training, back into their car and home, which feels very lonely to me.
Yeah. Wow, that's very different to my day, pre-2010.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I love the dressing room. I love going in and having the chats and having the slagging and the crack. And then afterward, if a game goes well for you, lads will bring you down a peg or two in the dressing room. And then also, if a game goes poorly for you, the lads will lift you up. And so it just feels very lonely to me, the idea of lads jumping in a car and going home. So I know the current intermediate management have really tried to bring that culture of the dressing room back in, that, showers aside, but just get back into the dressing room and put on your boots. So that's, I love that dressing room culture, that the crack in the dressing room. So to answer your question, is it just for the game itself, or the dressing room and meeting the lads? Probably both in equal measure.
It's a really interesting thing, because now that you've said it, like, when I read about that, I think about, there's a couple of, I can't remember who it was, a couple of players who say, like, I love the dressing room, I love before the game. But you're 100% right now that you say it, after the game and after the training is always a fantastic time in the dressing room of, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe you done that. Did you see what happened there? And do you remember this bit? And it's a fantastic little bonding time as well for the team, isn't it?
Absolutely. I remember a number of years ago, we played Crossmaglen Rangers in a challenge game here.
Oh, okay.
Back, I think it was 2012. And I came into the dressing room and it was so quiet. The dressing room was full of nerves and full of fear. This was Crossmaglen Rangers, one of the best teams ever. Even though it was a challenge game, we were all worried about what was going to happen. Were we going to be beaten by 30 points here? So
nobody wants that.
Nobody.
Even in challenge.
Exactly. Even though we had a very good team at the time. So I think it was Shane Crosby who broke the silence with, he said, "Are these any good? Does anyone know, lads?" And everybody just started laughing, and it broke it straight away. We actually beat them that night, and we played really well. But just, if you didn't have the dressing room, you wouldn't have had that.
Yeah, and it's a memory that lasts forever, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And what position do you play?
I was always a cornerback. Cornerback was always my position. I think that's even from when I came up at under 12, I was number 4 was given to me. I think my father before him was a cornerback, and my brothers were cornerbacks. I just think when people said, "Oh, here's Ian Matthews, we'll put him cornerback." So
pigeonholed.
yeah, and in recent years with the junior team, I've played more midfield and sometimes a corner forward coming out roaming, which has been so enjoyable to get on the ball, and it's that break from cornerback. So sometimes I feel a bit regretful that I stayed cornerback for my whole career. Sometimes I wish I could have got out the pitch a bit more, but maybe that's where I belonged, in the corner.
Well, it's hard as well. It's hard to change on your own, if you know what I mean. You almost need a selector or somebody to go, all right, in training we're going to play out a little bit more, we're going to make you a free role. Or it's hard for you to suddenly put up your hand and go, actually I'm going to play midfield today, and everyone, wait a second. And then they get in there, cornerbacks, and keep your mouth shut.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how, from you starting cornerback to finishing cornerback, and obviously the other thing for cornerback is it is a negative position, and you're trying to stop your man playing well rather than you play well if your man plays badly, if you know.
Exactly, yeah.
And how has that changed over time? Like, is there more running? Because again, obviously you've lived this big change in football where it's gone from kicking up the field 50-50 balls, you're trying to win, that sort of thing, to now it's all possession based.
Yeah, the cornerback now is almost like your quarterback. In American football, the cornerback is almost the one making that last run. So you need your number 2 and your number 4 to be able to put the ball over the bar now, which was never the way 15, 20 years ago. So yeah, it's really evolved. When I was cornerback, it was a battle in the corner, usually against a speedy corner forward, and it was a case of, if I could win 5 or 6 races in a game, you generally played well, because that meant you got to the ball first. And then on the flip side of it, if I lost those 5 or 6 races, you were taken off or you had a bad game. So I think it's a positive thing now for a cornerback. They're more involved in the game. Although on the defensive side of it, I think it's probably been easier, certainly in recent years. These new rules now will be interesting to see how it plays out. But prior to these new rules, in the last 5 to 10 years, I think cornerbacks have been able to not hide, but with the blanket defence, it's who's he marking, who's number 2 marking, who's number 4. Whereas go back to the 90s or even back to the noughties, you go in here to Park Tolton, and if you see the cornerback, you'll see who he's marking, and that combat was there for everybody to see. Whereas that kind of went out of the game, but maybe it'll come back in now with the new rules.
It'll be interesting to see how it goes, all right, because it's 3 behind the halfway line. 3
have to stay up in their own half, don't they? So the defending team must have 3 in the other team's half, no matter what. So
the only other one I know, the goalkeeper one, because that drives me nuts when somebody kicks it back to the goalkeeper.
I know.
It was so goalkeeper can't take a pass from their own player in their own half.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see how it goes as well.
Yeah.
I can't think of any of the other ones.
I think the tap and go is a good one in terms of the cynical foul, so that the player can just tap it on his foot and go, and he's away.
Right.
Whereas up to this, you commit that cynical foul, and then that gives your team the whole chance to get back and get reset. Whereas that's gone now.
It's fantastic as well that somebody's recognised that changes need to be made.
Yeah.
And as we said earlier, it's sweeping changes. But I'd prefer that they're trying to make it better. And it looks like they're trying to make it better than trying to slowly make it into something else.
Yeah.
Because it's always that challenge of a manager always wants to win games. So you're trying to push rules as far as you can to the corner, to the limit of it. And you're trying to work around that. What's the best way for me to win a game? It's not how are we going to be entertaining or anything like that. And then when teams are winning games, other teams obviously follow them tactics and try and adapt them tactics and make it different and better. So just going back to you and your playing and so you were managing junior as well.
Yeah.
So you were player manager.
Player manager, yeah.
Picking yourself in midfield.
Picking myself controversially.
Has anybody mentioned that to you?
Well, there were a few times I said to Gordon McCarthy or Marco Formosa, who helped me out with the teams, I said, I think you need to take that number 8 off, and I'd be wearing number 8, you know. So it actually was tricky, though. It was very tricky when you had a ropey period in the game, or if you didn't have a good game, or if your player was getting the better of you. You're trying to be in a leadership role, but you're having a tough battle yourself. So it definitely was a challenge to do that.
I get you. And were you leading trainings as well, or did you have people to do that?
I was leading the training as well.
And how has training changed over time, do you think?
I think as regard with the junior team, we only trained once a week. So it would be an hour and 20 minutes out on the pitch. So we'd focus on the aerobic side of it. It would be kind of old school, and I think a few of the players would describe it as old school, and I wouldn't take that as an insult in any way. We kept it very simple warm up, focus on injury prevention, and then get our hands on the ball, inject a bit of speed, bit of shooting, mini game, nothing revolutionary in it whatsoever. I think for senior teams and intermediate teams, they're training 2, 3, 4 times a week, so the tactics have become a much greater part of the game. And I think, you know, goalkeepers with their codes and their signals to the defenders, knowing that, almost taking it from NFL almost, where set plays have become a much bigger part. But I think with the junior, because we didn't have the time to do that, there was an element of, let's just go and play the game. And a few people would have said to me, I enjoyed watching those games because it was just 15 on 15. There were no tactics. It was just 30 players having a go, playing old school football almost.
And how successful were you over the past few years?
So we got to a couple of semi-finals, got to a final, and then finally in 2024 we got over the line. So we won. It would be the equivalent of, say, the old Junior C Championship, Junior B or Junior C Championship.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. So you've won that, and now you've gone up the level as well.
So they go up a level now, for 2025.
Is the mission this year survival, or is the mission push it harder, or do you know, have you decided yet?
Probably haven't decided just yet.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how the first few league games go and see how the younger players embed into the team.
Okay, right.
And then also some of the older players to see if they're hanging on to play. Hopefully they will.
Well, I was going to say, is there many players coming through?
Yeah, our minor team got to their first Division 1 final in 14 years there in 2024. Very unlucky to lose to Ratoath. And so that was a great sign of progress. So there'll be a number of players coming from that group into the adult setup.
So once you're minor, you can play what age do you have to be able to play junior?
I think out of minor. I think you have to be out of minor.
Once you're out of minor, you can play.
You can play,
okay,
yeah.
Right. Okay. Which is a nice little, again, considering there's an intermediate football team here. So
the intermediate team are the first team.
Yeah.
The second team would be what we call Premier 2, which is the equivalent of the old junior championship.
Okay, right.
And then the third team would be Premier 5 now, which is, again, roughly the equivalent of the Junior C championship.
I get you. Yeah. So it's a great way for people on the way out to kind of step down a little. Yeah. It's a little easier. But people on the way up as well to come through and learn, because that's how I came through with the hurling. I think we won junior something. We won a junior anyway.
Yeah.
And then I played senior after that. So it's that gradual build up.
Absolutely. And just to get them used to an adult dressing room culture. And I remember back in 2000, we won a Junior C championship, and I got to play with Sid Mallon and Davy Nelson and guys like this, and it was an honour to play with them. But besides learning from them on the pitch, just listening to them, just listening to the way they talk in the dressing room, you'd be a quiet young lad in the corner, you wouldn't open your mouth, but you were learning a lot about how to conduct yourself. Yeah,
I understand. And how to prepare for a game and what happens after games and stuff like that. You go for a few pints or...
Absolutely. Yeah, great. Absolutely. Going out for it a few pints and mixing with the older and younger, and that's how you get to know each other and build those friendships.
So again, if you're staying, that's the big question. If you're staying playing, the mission is on the team, doing well this year.
Yeah.
And if you're not, it could be anything, couldn't it?
That's it. That's it. How do you fill that void? And I think a lot of ex-players probably struggle with that. How do you fill that void with? Because if I know I have a game coming up next Wednesday night, let's say, I'll eat right. You drink your water, you'll get your early nights because you've got a target there. So when you take that target away, I can see how you get lost, in terms of your diet and the way you live. And so that would probably be one of the biggest reasons why I'd carry on, because I'd be afraid to take that away.
I know what you mean. And for your management, you've done 5 years. Did you do any management courses or training courses or anything?
No, absolutely not.
You learned on the game.
Learned from the game and learned from previous managers.
Yeah.
I would be basically copying things that I learned from people like Cathal O'Brick, people like Davy Nelson, Sean Kelly, Michael Downs, Tomás O'Flaherty, these guys who I've been lucky enough to play under, Colin O'Rourke and St. Pat's, and basically just trying to remember the drills and the sessions that I enjoyed and got a lot out of, and just reapplying those to my sessions.
Am I right in thinking the Matthews family has a lot of history that you guys have been involved with? Navan O Mayoney's going back a long time.
We have, yeah. Grandad Joe and his dad before him, they were based here in Navan, and back in 48 when Navan O Mayoney's was formed, Joe Matthews would have been one of the orchestrators of that, while he wasn't one of the official founders.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. He would have been heavily involved in creating it, and then obviously Ollie.
Yeah.
He managed me, probably managed you at some stage.
Yeah.
And now you're here as well. So
yeah,
there's a big tradition of it.
Big tradition, yeah. And Navan O Mayoney's was probably a second home for us growing up.
I know that feeling. And what was it? So I don't really remember how it works, but there was a De La Salle's and there was a Navan O Mayoney's.
That's right.
And I think De La Salle's was for the juniors and then Navan O Mayoney's was for the adult. Do you know any of that? Or
I don't know the exact history of it. And then there was a period where De La Salle was just the underage. From minor down, it was De La Salle. So say, for example, back in 1986, it would have been the De La Salle under 16 championship winning team.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, am I right in saying your age group, Seamus, in 93 were the first to win the under 12 championship
with O'Mahony's.
With Navan O Mayoney's.
Yes, that's correct. Because my brother who's born in 77, I was born in 81.
Yeah.
He played De La Salle's, but I never did.
Yes.
So it was always a bit weird, and I was always a bit confused in it.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing again about De La Salle's is, I think, I can't remember if it was the hurlers or the footballers played in the purple. It was a purple stripes, or it's like a purple away jersey.
That's right.
That's really nice. That's very reminiscent of the De La Salle's colours.
Absolutely.
It's a really nice jersey, I have to say.
Yeah, it's lovely to have that throwback into the history. We played Slane in a junior championship game a few years ago, and we realised there was a jersey clash. So Slane could wear blue or white. We obviously only had the blue and white. So we wore bibs.
Oh, right.
I was in the dressing room with a permanent marker putting on numbers on bibs. And I said to Tomás Brady, the chairman at the time, I said, Tomás, we need to get the second set of jerseys.
That's a very junior problem, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because I know we done in hurling, I could have been friendlies and stuff like that at the start of the season. You'd go somewhere and they'd be in blue and white, and then the bag with it'll be De La Salle's jerseys, but they'd have been there for like the last year and a half.
Yeah.
And they'd smell, so you'd be putting them on, they'd be all musty and that sort of thing. So it's obviously changed a lot with jerseys now.
It has, and it's great to have the other strip and explain it to children now, educating them on, because you have children now saying, why are Mahony's wearing those colours? So it's great to give them the bit of history.
Yeah.
So Seamus, there's loads of my family is steeped in Navan O Mayoney's, and it makes you feel very proud to be able to carry that on. And then you hope that my two daughters and my son Ollie, you hope that they would enjoy it and hope that they want to continue with it as well. Well, you never force them to do it. You just try and encourage them. But if they didn't want to, that's absolutely fine as well. But
what age are they?
So they're 11, 9 and 6.
And how competitive are they?
They're the 9-year-old Anna is very competitive, and Erin has a competitive streak in her, probably a bit more like me. You have to poke the bear. My father used to always say to me, let the bull out. I want to see the bull out today, because even a lot of my teammates would probably tell you I'd be quite relaxed on the pitch.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think Aaron's similar to me in that regard. You have to poke the bear to get that ball out. And Ollie, we don't know yet. He's very young. He's just up playing handball here with his friends in the hall this morning, and hopefully he'll take to it. But like I said, James, we'll encourage them and bring them. But as long as they're having fun and enjoying it, the day they're not, that's fine too.
That's the most important part.
Exactly.
You come up and again, it's great as well when you go up and you're with 15, 20 other people. There's always going to be 2 or 3 people that you like. There's always going to be 2 or 3 that you don't really talk to that much. But it's a nice amount of people. You'll always find people that you like and that you get on with.
This is it. And Ollie is, when he comes up here to the club, sometimes older members of the club will say to him, "Oh, is this Ollie Matthews? Is this?" And Ollie is now beginning to realise who his granddad was. And I think he appreciates that, and he's asking more questions now about Grandad Oliver now, and he's realising that he's Oliver Matthews now as well, and I think he's enjoying that.
That's fantastic. Well, I hope it goes well for all of them.
Well, thanks very much, Seamus.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time.
Lovely talking to you, Seamus. Thank you.
Talking to you. Yeah.